Coach Allen was talking about just your approach and, coming in morning meetings and having something you very much want to teach and relay to the offense to try to, get their minds framed on what you guys have to fix. I mean, what are the things that you were teaching, I guess, today and trying to make a point of and get across to the players?
Well, I think you're always, especially on offense, you're trying to eliminate errors. You're eliminating mistakes and specifically unforced errors. When you play, in our conference and you play high level competition, there are going to be errors sometimes that are forced, by the quality of your opponent and the play of the guys you're going against. But the things as an offense that you're trying to eliminate are the unforced errors, which as we, like I said, I tell you guys every week, we watch the same game that you guys watch. We're on the 8-yard line. We don't handle a snap. It goes over the quarterback's head. We get the ball on the 2, we get a face mask penalty on offense. So now we're bumped back and we end up settling for a field goal. There's unforced errors that occur that you're trying to eliminate to allow your unit to score more points, to be in better positions throughout longer stretches of time to score points. I think when you look at, middle of the third quarter and pretty much up until we started to go in really to a 4-minute mode, we eliminated errors and we executed at a higher level. We went right down the field and scored, I think, 17 points in 3 possessions, and really on the one possession we settled for a field goal, we should have had a touchdown. And that was, we hit a 60-some yard pass and we're down at the 2-yard line and we get a face mask penalty on offense, which obviously Watt wasn't doing that intentionally, but you can't do it. You can't grab a defender's face mask. And we don't convert a 3rd and 1, which was an error on our part. We didn't execute the play as well as we could have. And that starts with the coaches and works through the players. So really that was the biggest message, is to continue to emphasize the things that we feel like we did better in the second game compared to the first game, eliminate the errors. And if we're able to do that, we feel confident that we're able to score points regularly and more consistently. So that was really the biggest message. And, the focus for us is on our preparation, on our practice. And that's really where it starts, is the execution and the elimination of errors in practice. And so that was tied into the message we had for the guys.
All right, Paul, then Tom Brew.
Hey, Coach. As an offense, Indiana ranks last in the conference in terms of rushing. Is it something that starts up front with the offensive line without giving away the game plan? What can you guys do to kind of get that running game going? And how important is it to get it going to take some pressure off of Mike this week?
Well, I think it's always an emphasis. It's always something that's important. And I think it's easy when you evaluate the run game to say that the line is the main issue, but that's not always the case. It's a collective effort. Coaches making sure that the plays that are being ran are putting our players in the best chance to be successful relative to the box count or the front or the pressure that you're going against. So it starts with us. Obviously the line has a large part to do with it on how they're blocking and executing. The running backs, making sure they're making the right cuts and right reads. The tight ends, making sure they're blocking their guys. The quarterback, making sure that he's making the right checks or the right reads. So it's a full unit task and job. And we feel like we made some improvements in the second game compared to the first game, but still feel like we got more to do and more work to be had. And, that'll always be an important part of what we're trying to do here. And then the other thing, you got to give credit to the teams you've gone against. They've done a nice job. I think Rutgers held Michigan State to 60 yards rushing in the first game. We had as a team, we had a 20-yard minus play when we snapped the ball over the quarterback's head. That's not helpful. So it's a collective effort. It starts with us as a staff and me specifically, making sure that we're running the ball into good looks. And we'll continue to chop at it, continue to try to get better at it, because it will be important. You can't, in this league, especially this year, we're already in November and we're only on our third game, so it's not going to get warmer. You're going to have to be able to run the football, especially when the weather starts to turn even more than what it already has. So that'll be important, and we'll continue to emphasize. And we saw improvement. We saw the guys get better in the second game than they were in the first game, and that's really what we're focused on.
All right, Tom, then Peaks.
Nick, I have something of a full circle question for you. You grew up as the son of a football coach, and so tell me a little bit about what that was like as you being a quarterback as a kid, and then having played quarterback in this league. How much has that helped you as a coordinator now?
Well, I'll just start with being a coach's kid. First off, my dad's my hero, probably like a lot of people on this call, and I looked up to him my entire life. I thought what he did was so cool. And so obviously that put me on the path to get into coaching. So it was great, it was great being a coach's kid. I had a blast, and I was thankful for that. And partly because my dad was very lucky and fortunate to coach a lot of great players, a lot of great people. He worked with some great staffs. And so that was a wonderful experience for me. As far as playing quarterback in the conference, hopefully it helps me just relate to the players. I've been in most of the stadiums. I didn't perform nearly as well as some of our guys have. So that's, I can let them know what not to do sometimes, or how to handle some adversity. But, hopefully it's the one thing about my playing career. I sat in a lot of different seats. I was a freshman walk-on. At the time, there was 105 guys that went to fall camp, and I probably was number 105. I got a phone call from the coaches like a couple of days before camp and said, "Hey, come on." So I was 7th on the depth chart at quarterback. I was on scout special teams. I think I was like the R4 on scout kickoff. I was the PP on scout punt. And I was playing quarterback. I'll tell you a quick funny story. I remember after the first padded practice, my good friend, Mark Moondros, who ended up being a captain, he and I were both walk-ons together. He's a wonderful guy. But he broke his foot. He was like the walk-on running back fullback. He broke his foot in the first practice doing like an agility drill. So I became the scout team fullback. I remember calling my dad. He asked me how it's going. I said, "It's going great." I said, "But if I'm going to have to play fullback, I'm going to have to get a cowboy collar and change my face mask." I was Lamar Woodley and Prescott Burgess and David Harris, guys that played in the NFL. They were, shortening my neck on one back or two back power. So, but the point is, I've sat in a lot of different seats. I've been in a competition and won it. I've been in a competition, I've lost it. I've been benched. I've been put in off the sideline. I've really, at the time, while it might not have been the most pleasant, it was tough at times, but I think it prepared me to be able to relate to the players. So hopefully that served me well. Hopefully the players feel that I know what they're going through, and I know how to push through it and try to continue to work and improve. So, but I've been lucky. I've just, football's a wonderful sport. Coaching's a great profession. I'm very fortunate and lucky. I love coaching here at Indiana and for the people that I get to work with and for. And so I feel very, very blessed.
All right, Peaks and Zach.
Hey, Coach, I just wondered if you thought there was some real progress by Michael, game 2 versus the opener, when his decision making and throws and so forth.
Yeah, Michael played better. There's no doubt about it. He graded out a winner. We still need to, and I'm responsible. We still need to start faster in each half. We need to play more consistently. But I think there was moments in the game on Saturday where we looked like a very good offense. I felt like, kind of midway of the third quarter till, we got up by 3 scores. We looked like a very good offense, in my opinion. We executed. We were able to move the ball. We threw the ball effectively. We had explosive plays. We got the ball to our guys that can make plays. So there was progress, and certainly Michael was a factor in that. Now the charge for not just Mike but everybody is to play more consistently, more often, and we're going to have to do that moving forward for sure.
All right, Zach and Jim Coyle.
Nick, sorry. So I think you kind of been asked this in a couple different ways, including the last question. But I wanted to ask about Mike's second half in particular. I think he was 9 of 10, 160-some-odd yards, 2 touchdowns. Just looked really in command of kind of everywhere the ball needed to go. It felt like he was moving through his progressions quickly. Is that a comfort thing? Is that something you guys discussed at halftime? Or is it maybe just, again, a little bit reflective of not having spring practice, not having a non-conference season, and so some of that needing to happen kind of in real time here early in the Big Ten season?
Yeah, well, I think we don't make any excuses for anything, for sure. We're hunting a perfect game. That's what we're looking for. specifically for Mike in the game, and if you guys feel differently, you feel free to tell me. But we had some drops in the first half, and I think from Michael's standpoint, sometimes the ball location or the speed or the pace of the ball, maybe we could do a slightly better job to make it more catchable. But I do think collectively with the throws and the catches, we just were a little bit better. I felt some of the throws early in the game could have been slightly more accurate, and which is going to happen when you play quarterback. I mean, every single throw is not going to always be perfect, although that's what we're trying to do. But I thought Michael was prepared. I thought he played a little bit better as the game went on. Probably made some better play calls on my end. But I thought early in the game there were some throws that I thought Michael made that were quality throws that, for one reason or another, we just didn't come down with it. But certainly proud of the way he finished. He kept playing. He's done that in both games. But I thought relative to last week's game, I thought Michael started off the game a little bit better. It just maybe didn't look that way statistically.
All right, Jim, then Tom Brew.
Nick, now that we're a couple of games in, are you able to spend a little less time implementing and working on your offense and more game planning towards your opponent, especially when one is like Michigan coming up this week? I know it's difficult without having with the COVID and not having the practice. It's been a difficult balance for you.
Yeah, I think you learn more about your team in games than you do in practice, and so I think each week that we'll learn more about this group specifically. And even though we have some guys coming back, there's still people in different spots. Obviously WAP, we know what WAP can do, and he had a productive game on Saturday, but there's still different people in different spots. And so you're trying to learn more about the team. Even Michael, even though Michael played last year, it's not like he played a ton. And so you're learning more about what Mike likes and the things that he feels most comfortable with each and every game. So I think the fine line for us as coaches is there's a lot of great plays out there. There's a lot. And we do want to be creative and we want to keep the defense off balance. But we don't want to do that and confuse our own guys. I think that's the fine line. You can shift, motion, do different things, different formations. But if it slows your own guys' thinking process down, then it's not beneficial. So we want to make sure that it's complex enough to keep the defense off balance, without a doubt. We don't want to be a stagnant picture. I always talk about from an installation standpoint, we don't want to be box number one on the defensive install. We're trying to make sure that the pictures we give them are slightly different or harder to adjust, force the defense to communicate, move their feet, etc. But at the same time, you don't want to confuse your own guys. So, we're looking to continue to expand as we move through the season to put our guys in the best positions to be successful so that they can play fast and execute. And I think in the second half of the game last week, I think our guys started to do that. I thought they played faster, more confidently. And certainly, I thought the play calls were better. It's fair to say that, they were a little bit more aggressive and our guys executed in those situations and did a nice job. So execution still is most important, but certainly as coaches, we're doing everything we can to make sure we put our guys in the best position and keep the defense off balance.
All right, Tom, last one.
Nick, looking ahead to Saturday, if we could, everybody sort of expected this season to be a little inconsistent at times just by the nature of how it's all played out. And watching Michigan twice, their two games obviously were very different. What have you seen in looking at film of them that's either surprised you or made you have cause for concern?
Well, I think it's so early in the year. I don't know who, it's hard to say who's good, who's not, who maybe just played poorly one week or the other. And so it's hard to say that a ton about, Michigan's defense after two games, other than what you would expect from a Don Brown and the Jim Harbaugh defense would be extremely fast and physical, extremely well coached, multiple. And in just being transparent, in the game this past week, Michigan State was able to hit some big plays down the field. I mean, there really wasn't, I'm sure they're sitting there looking at it, and that was really the gist of what happened. Credit to Michigan State's skill guys and the quarterback. I thought they did a nice job. But there was a lot of very competitive and great plays by Michigan's defense. There's no doubt about it. I mean, both their defensive ends are as quality as there are in this league. Their linebackers can run. Their DBs have length. And Don Brown's he's a fantastic defensive coordinator. So it'll be a great challenge. We know that. We know they'll be ready to play, as they always are, and they always have been. There's been times since my time here at Indiana that Michigan's defense has been suffocating, and I'm certain that they feel like that's what they're building towards. And it's so early in the year to say whether or not, maybe Michigan State did a great job, and had a good game and played well. But we certainly expect Michigan's defense to be stout, like they always will be, and it'll be a great challenge. And I think our guys are looking forward to the competition, as I'm sure Michigan's defense and their entire team is.